Hey everybody, Clay Archer, CEO, DBC Technology. I've got a really cool one today. Today we're going to compare the new G6 Pro 360 to the AI 360. As you may know, I've been running the AI 360 for some time now. And when I did that review, I was really skeptical about 360 cameras in general. And I've been really surprised at how much I like the AI 360. It really is one of my favorite cameras. But if I had one complaint about it, the image is just a little soft. Obviously, if you're getting a 360-degree image, there's a lot of area for that sensor to cover, and as a consequence, you do lose some detail. But I'm really excited to see this new unit and see how it compares to the AI 360 that I've come to love. So anyways, let's go ahead and get this unboxed. This is typical, beautiful UniFi packaging. So you have the camera itself. You can see it's a newer design where the camera itself just has a plastic cover, and it's more of a little dome in the middle of the device itself. You'll get a better view of that when we've got it installed and they're side by side. But there's also a typical backplate. If you've installed any dome cameras, you'll be very familiar with the backplate. And then there's a mounting plate that would go behind like a ceiling tile if you were mounting it that way. A very typical UniFi mounting configuration. A couple things to note here in the accessories, you'll see a screwdriver here to take the dome on and off if you need to mount it or for whatever reason. There's also a wrench, and the wrench is used to tighten down the nut, and the nut is used to hold the grommet in where the Cat 6 cable goes into the unit itself to weatherproof it. There's also a set of grommets there for different wire sizes, very typical of other UniFi cameras. And with that, let's go ahead and get these things mounted. You can see we're doing a pretty custom installation here. We have these trusses in our office. We don't have really a hung ceiling, so they're coming down off of some all thread, and we have a couple of adapters there that we're mounting to. We're using the backing plate and then mounting the camera to them straight. Obviously, that's a pretty custom mount. We're installers and we do custom mounts all the time, but this is probably not an officially supported way to mount the camera. Typically, you're going to be mounting these to hung ceilings. There are a couple of mounting adapters. There's a flush mount kit, and there is a dual mount kit, and there is a junction box that are available on the site. If you're interested in any of those, they are just on the site there, and that will be in the link down in the description. You can see here we mounted them side by side. It's a pretty easy installation. That Cat 6 cable just goes right through the grommet there and then plugs into the unit itself. The access to the mini SD card for edge recording is also here underneath the dome itself. Once we had it installed, we screwed the dome back on and we went ahead and adopted it. One last thing while we have them side by side, you can see that the AI 360 has a little bigger diameter, but is also a little shorter. You can also see that the dome on the G6 Pro 360 is a little bit smaller, and it only covers the camera lens itself as opposed to being wider like it is on the AI 360. I might say that the AI 360 is a little bit more attractive unit. It fades into the background a little bit more than the G6 Pro 360. But again, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, so you make the call there. Let's go ahead and jump into store.ui.com and let's just compare these real quick. I'm going to go ahead and choose the two cameras here. We've got the G6 Pro 360 at $499. I'm going to go compare, and I am going to go down to the AI 360 and I'm going to go compare. And we'll click compare here to go show through the two units. First off, during Black Friday here, it is $499 versus $249. Typically, the AI 360 is $399. I don't know if that price is going to go back up after Black Friday, but I'm assuming that it will. So, you know, for $100 difference or $250 difference, your decision may be a little different. Like I mentioned before, the AI 360 is a little bit shorter. It's saying that their diameters are both the same, but you can go back to the video there and make your own judgment on that. IR night vision, this is one of the big features of the G6 Pro 360, is this smart IR where you get 4 controllable zones, and we'll go through that. It goes to 15 meters for 50 feet versus 9 meters and 30 feet, and we'll test those out when it gets dark. Both have smart detections of people, vehicle, and animals, but neither have facial recognition or license plate recognition. The field of view of both is the same. It's basically that half of a sphere beneath the unit. They both have two-way audio. The other big difference here is the weatherproofing and tamper resistance. The G6 Pro 360 is IP66 and IK10 versus IPX4 while covered and IK08. So basically, I probably wouldn't have put the AI 360 outdoors, especially in a direct exposure, whereas the G6 Pro 360 definitely can go outdoors and is designed as such. As I mentioned before, there is a surface mount that's included in both the AI 360 and G6 Pro 360, but there's also an optional junction box. It works with the camera dual mount kit and with the arm mount. The AI 360 just has that junction box, which is optional. Networking interface is 10/100 versus gigabit. That won't make a difference in real life. The G6 Pro 360 also adds noise reduction by motion and HDR over the AI 360. The G6 Pro runs at 24 frames per second versus 30 frames per second. And the big feature of this unit, the sensor in the G6 Pro 360 is 1/1/6 inch and 12 megapixels versus a 5 megapixel CMOS sensor in the AI 360. While the power consumption is actually a little less on the G6 Pro 360, it does require a PoE Plus versus only PoE that's required on the AI 360. They both use the same processor and the weight is roughly the same. As I mentioned before, there's a micro SD card on the G6 Pro 360 and its operational temperature range is a little bit wider than the AI 360s. So on paper, it looks like quite a significant upgrade, but what does it look like in real life? Well, let's fire up the cameras and let's see what we get here. So I've got a view here of the AI 360 on the left and the G6 Pro 360 on the right. I'll fire them both up and you can see once I dewarp them here, the image, like I said on my AI 360, which I think is a decent image, it just looks a little soft. So you can see here, I'm using my keypad to go around here and go up and down. So you've got the keypad up and down, left and right. And if I wanted to zoom in, I can go I and I can go O here. To go in and out. So really simple. It's very much like a PTZ here. And if I want to reset back to zoomed out, I can click the R and it will reset. Very much like a PTZ. And I've gotten very used to doing this. What I really like about this camera for me is I can see up and down these halls. So I can see up that hall. And if I go down this way, we can go down this hall. Sometimes I'm just trying to find if somebody's in one of those rooms or if something's in the hall. And I have the ability to go do that. So that is the AI 360. And now let's go do the same thing here. I'm going to go ahead and dewarp it. And you can just see right away the quality difference. It's almost to me like night and day difference with the sharpness. It just is quite a stark difference there. Another thing, and I have not messed with the settings at all, is not only does it look sharper, it just looks more vivid. It looks less washed out. Let me go over here where you can compare. Look at the couch over here. And that versus this is just a better representation of what it really looks like. Now, I will say at different zoom levels, and you can use your mouse to zoom in and out, I do get moire on this, which is those kind of jagged lines. If you've ever seen a TV show where somebody's got like a pinstripe suit and it kind of gives you that pattern in it, you will get that moire in this camera sometimes. I'm trying to make it happen, and it's just at different zoom levels. It will happen from time to time just because it is really contrasty, I think. But anyways, beautiful image here. You can see I can see way down that hall. Look at the detail in the wood. I'll use this restroom sign here as an example of just the difference of the sharpness of it. So I'm zoomed in on there. I'm zoomed in pretty good. That's kind of digital zoom there, so it looks a little pixely. But if I do the same in here with the AI Pro, you can see I can probably tell that that says restroom just because I know that it says restroom. But on the G6 Pro 360, I can see that it says restroom. There's just no doubt about it. It's that level of quality difference that really makes this shine. Also, you'll notice here behind the room here, I can see through the glass here and get a bunch of details in the back there. Whereas with the AI 360, I don't cut through that glass as well. I can see what's going on there, but I can't see, like I can really just see in the back there. Now, nobody's walking around back there. I can see Jan at her desk, but she's not moving, but I can see through that window. It's just those kind of qualitative differences that make a really big difference there. That's just a much nicer image. I can just see these pumpkins. Look how crisp the pumpkins look. I can see UPS pickup. Might be able to read it, but just on the edge. Whereas it's pretty clear to me on this one that it says that. What I will say here, the AI 360 is a really nice camera. I mean, it's not that old. It's a really nice camera, but the 12 megapixel sensor here is just simply giving me more information here on the G6 Pro 360. It's just a nicer looking image and you're going to get more detail. So really quickly, I'll go through the controls here. I can click on mouse control, which will let me zoom here with the mouse. I'm not as big a fan of that. I do this one with the keyboard because I just like the smoothness of it. Whereas with the PTZ, I will use that mouse control. The one thing on the mouse control that I do use is the zoom in and out on the mouse control. So I have my hand on the keyboard doing up, down, left, right, and then do the zoom with my mouse. Then you have the warp or de-warp the video. I usually leave this in de-warp, and I'll leave it in a position. I usually leave mine here, and then in the view, it just stays there so that I can see down that hall. Obviously you can go back in post, and if there was something that was happening behind this, I can go back and go all over. It's recording the entire scene in post. It's not just recording what I'm looking at here. So super versatile, but typically you don't want to see the whole circle there. You just kind of want to see in one direction, and I leave it down this hall. Next, you have shortcuts, so I could put in a shortcut here if I wanted to the AI 360, so I could go back and forth between the two of them. So then I've got the AI 360 here that I could switch over to the AI 360. Then we have overlays here. I really like this new feature of show all on hover. I mentioned this in a couple of my videos. Instead of having every person having that outline on them, it just would go to the one that you hover your mouse over. Really cool new feature. Again, that's that moire I'm talking about here. It'll resolve itself if I zoom in and out a couple times, but you get more on the G6 Pro 360 just because it's just a sharper, crisper, more contrasty image. And then we can go into settings here. I'm going to go into the camera itself here. Typical recording options here. And as we mentioned, we have animal, person, and vehicle detections. We have all of these sound detections, and we can create motion events, and we have tamper detection here. So if I click here, it's going to detect if the camera is physically moved or obstructive. It gets logged as a timeline event and can trigger alarms or automation. Recommended for security critical installations. So you can click that if you wanted to turn that on. We have the quality settings. We have the overlay. I'm going to give it the camera name here. And for zones and lines, we have motion zones, we have smart zones, we have crossing lines, and we have privacy blackouts. Obviously, because it's 360 camera, you have to be a little bit creative with your drawing here. But I could say I'm going to create a zone in here, and I probably would add a couple ones, just could de-warp it a little bit. And it's the same for line crossings. If you're wanting to create one, you could just drag it by. Let's say the door would make sense. And you could set one whether it was B to A to B, coming or going, and you could say what all it is there, and you click save. So under settings here, we could rename the camera if we wanted to. We can also set the microphone sensitivity. We can disable it while recording, or we can add noise reduction to it, or we can disable it permanently if we'd like to. All right, so let's quickly do a sound test between the AI 360 and the G6 Pro 360. All right, so you have the G6 Pro.
All right, happy Tuesday. I hope everyone's having a great day. I'm really excited for Thanksgiving this weekend. I'm going to be making some cinnamon rolls for the fam because they're obsessed.
You have the AI 360.
Really hoping for some good wins, hoping that my quarterback can actually start playing football again instead of being terrible. Or maybe I can put Jackson Dart in. That'd be pretty good, except he's had a concussion.
Okay, so to my ear, the G6 Pro 360 sounds a little bit better. It sounds a little crisper, and it sounds like it's doing a little bit better job with the noise reduction in the background. And in fact, where it is right now, both of these are right next to the air conditioning unit. And I think the G6 Pro 360 is doing a little bit better job of lowering that ambient buzz in the background. We can turn on or up the HDR. Also under night vision, there is one extra new feature here called night vision optimization. You can turn that off or auto. But if we go to custom here, you can see this new IR zone feature that they have added to the G6 Pro 360. And basically there are 4 zones, and you can control the strength of IR in each of those zones. So you can turn it down, you can turn it up based off of where you want IR. A really cool new feature, and we will test that out at night tonight. Also under camera, we have status sounds and status lights. We have advanced settings where we can tweak the quality of the image. We can also change the orientation, and we've got that on auto rotate. We can create tags, and we can share a live stream if we wanted to. So that is the G6 Pro 360 versus the AI 360 during the day. So let's wait a couple hours for it to get dark, and we will compare the nighttime features of the AI 360 and the G6 Pro 360. All right, so here we are back at night, and as you can see, it is quite dark out. It's about 7 o'clock on a winter's night, so it's quite dark outside. I will tell you, as always, that our office does not get completely dark. There are some phantom lights around the office, and as a matter of fact, Jamie is working at the other side of the office, and you can see some light back here. But I will tell you, it's very dark in there. These cameras are so sensitive to light. This is some light from street lights down the way, but I assure you it is quite dark in there. If you were walking around and there was something on the floor, you would probably trip on it, especially down the halls. But anyway, so I just always put that disclaimer out there because it never gets completely dark inside of our office. I've got all the IRs from everything else turned off in the front office. We have several cameras in there. So they are all off. I have it off in the G6 Pro 360. So let's look at the AI 360 first. And right off the bat, I will say this is a really nice image. Its IR emitters are on, and you can see I can really see up and down the halls. It does a really nice job. You can see there's a light on in that refrigerator in the corner. There's some light off back in the office there. Some of these monitors on. But other than that, it is quite dark in there. But I would say this is a good image. I really think if somebody, were to come in and do something or take something or whatever, if I needed to see who was coming and going, I would feel very comfortable with the image out of the AI 360. I think it is a decent image. And like I said in the beginning, I'm very impressed with this camera, and it is one of my favorite cameras. Obviously, it's a bit grainy, and let's go in on something. You're not going to get much detail in anything here, but that's really not what we're trying to do here. Obviously, we're just trying to see if somebody came in and took something, or something went missing, or whatever. And I think for that purpose, this is a great camera. So that is the AI 360. And now let's go ahead and turn off its IR emitter here. I'm going to go in and put that to custom and drag it all the way down to nothing. If you ever want to know how to turn off your IR emitter, you just go into night vision, go to custom, and turn it all the way down to always off. And so now we have them both off. As another indication of how sensitive the sensors are, this is the AI 360, and this is the G6 Pro 360. That bigger sensor, it's just going to be more light sensitive, and you can see so much more detail in everything here. As a matter of fact, even with IR off, I think that's kind of sort of a decent image here. Let me dewarp that real quick. Shoot, I can see into that back office, and it looks actually pretty good there. I can see some detail on things. I can probably see out in the parking lot where there is some light. So that's it with no IR emitters on. Let's go ahead and turn IR on. And I do think this is one of the party tricks of this camera. So let's let that kick in, and let's go in there and dewarp it. And right off the bat, just look at that, man. It's so crispy and good. Of business, I can't read those rules. I see rule number 2. I can't quite read it, but man, like I can see the sodas in that refrigerator. I can see this box of the Cat 6 cable back there. I mean, really, I can read that restroom again, can't I? Oops. I mean, I can read it because I know what it is, but getting close to be able to read in that restroom. You can see the grain and the wood on the wall there. You can see the planters. It's just really good and crisp. Like I keep saying, that contrast of this sensor is just so strong. I mean, this is just an incredible image. I think you would definitely be able to diagnose more from this image than you can see Mallory's cart there, the tape on it. And I mean, it is just a better image. And I think low light is really separating the men from the boys here for sure. Fall, sweet fall. I can read stuff here where there was no chance I would be able to read any of that stuff with the AI Dome. So if you're looking for that level of quality of the image, I think the AI Dome just cannot compete with the G6 360. But obviously that image sensor size at night is just, it's going to be a real cheat code. Let me just do this real quick. I'm going to go into playback here, and I'm going to choose this AI 360. I'll go first here, and I had Darian turn off the lights before he left, and I'm going to go back 30 seconds on that. And then let me zoom over to Darian walking down the hall. And you can see Darian, he's a little ghosty. This is the AI 360. He's a little ghosty there, but still, I don't think that's a horrible image. But let's look at that same image on the G6 360. One thing you will see some artifacts on this. What I did, which was a mistake, is both sensors have their IR emitters on. So that just looks like such a crispier, better image there of Darian walking out. You can see right here, you can see the glow of the AI 360's IR emitter. So I had both of them on, so you're getting a little bit of feedback there. Let's go back in the G6 Pro 360, and I'm going to show you one more of its party tricks. And this may be important to some people, I don't know, but under night vision optimization, you can set it on off, and I've got it on off. You can set it to auto, and you can set it to custom. And when you put it on custom here, you get these zones, and you can turn the IR on and off in each zone. So I just turned it off down the hall. Now I'm going to turn it off in this area here. You can see it go away. Now I'm going to turn it off down the right hall. See it go away. And then I'll turn it off in the front area. So this is IR on, but no emitters on. And you can see some of the IR emitters from the cameras in the back of the office all lit up. But really, really kind of neat. You can turn them on individually. You can turn them to certain levels on any individual ones. It gives you real granular control over how you have your IR emitters. And auto, for me right now, auto has just left them all on. So I haven't really seen any difference on auto. But one of the things that it says in its description, if I go back into the UniFi store, it talks about this smart IR functionality. And furthermore, if I go down in here, noise reduction by motion. So obviously under auto there, it's going to do some stuff to optimize the image quality. All right, so that's the G6 Pro 360 at night. A really impressive unit. So who do I think this is for? Number one, right now with the Black Friday deals at $250, I think the AI 360 is an incredible buy. If you're going to use a 360 indoors, that AI 360 is still a pretty incredible camera. But at its regular $399 price, I think the G6 Pro 360 is the better camera out of the two. And if I was going to get one of the two, I would go for the G6 Pro 360. Also, if you're going to put one outside, I would put an AI 360 outside kind of reluctantly. Would do it, but it's not the same build quality and weather resistance that the G6 Pro 360 is. So if you are going to put one outside, I think the G6 Pro 360 removes all of those questions. You can definitely put it outside. It's definitely ready for that. And being more tamper resistant is really nice. Also, if image quality really matters to you, I think the G6 Pro 360 is the better image without a doubt. Especially at night, I think it really shines at night. But even during the day, you can see there's just much more detail in the image. And if you need better IR performance, obviously the G6 Pro 360 has better IR performance just in distance, and it's controllable by zones. And those features are nice to have. Finally, it has more mounting options, which makes sense because this is more indoor, outdoor focused. One thing that would be really cool is to have that dual camera mount and have one on each end, and you truly would get a 360 dome view of whatever you were looking at. That would be pretty cool. I can also see this with like a corner mount being put on the corner of a building and being able to look in all directions. That would be a cool use for this technology. That being said, if you already have an AI 360, I don't think there's enough differentiation here to make me go out and buy a G6 Pro 360 and get rid of the AI 360. That camera is new enough. It has most of the bells and whistles, and it is a really nice camera. It just is not, to me, as nice as the G6 Pro 360 is. So that concludes my completely unscientific comparison of the AI 360 and the G6 Pro 360. If you have any questions or comments, please put them down below. I'll try to get to all of those. As always, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video.